We're glad you're back. As we continue discussing the new Pew Research study on immigration policy, we're joined by Abel Nunez, Executive Director of the Central American Resource Center, Immigration Attorney Daniel Park, and Mark Hugo Lopez of the Pew Hispanic Center. Welcome all to Hispanic Agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Mark, it's your study. I'll start with you. Can you give us a brief summary of what you found?
Well, we asked a question of both Hispanics and Asian Americans. What is more important for unauthorized immigrants living in the country today? Relief from deportation or a pathway to citizenship? And we found that among Hispanics, 55% said relief from deportation. Among Asian Americans, about half said relief from deportation. So relief from deportation is on the minds of both Hispanics who are immigrants, but also Hispanics who are native born. And if you just look at what's been happening over the last few years, there's been a rise, particularly during the Obama administration years, in the number of people deported from the U.S. Many of those folks are Hispanics.
Sure, and that they're responding to this, to the fear.
That's correct, yes.
All right. Daniel Park, you deal with this every day. You're an immigration attorney. A lot of families are facing deportation. Put us in their shoes.
Certainly. We see every day thousands of people being deported. This administration has reached records in terms of deportation. Even though I got to add the fact that recently what is called a persecutory education has been working, and they are taking more closely at the family unification to maintain the family here. So they are providing some relief in that sense, but there are massive amounts of people still being deported these days.
Mark Hugo Lopez, I just want to clarify that a majority of Hispanics still back a path to citizenship.
That's correct.
Just when faced with that question, would you rather have
what's more important?
What's more important? They say stop deportation.
That's correct. So there's still broad support among Latinos and Asian Americans and the general U.S. public for a pathway to citizenship for unauthorized immigrants.
So let's get to the politics of this. I want to bring in Abel. Abel, thank you for being here. You work to try to get the White House, to try to get the Congress to get immigration reform. That's part of your job description. Do you think that this is going to embolden House Republicans to say, we don't want the path to citizenship? I don't care if it takes 13 years, we don't want it. Or is this an opportunity for compromise?
Well, you have to remember that, politics is the art of the possible. And we have to look at the context in which Congress finds itself in, outside of just the immigration debate. But the reality is that right now Congress is very polarized, and so for us in the movement, we need to figure out what's the best way to approach it. And what this shows is that there are multiple ways. It's not a yes, we'll support a comprehensive approach, or no, or nothing. It proves that we can think what other possibilities out there, so at the end we get the ultimate goal of getting everyone to have a path to legalization and then on to citizenship.
Yes, and I believe the immediate need is to stop the deportation, and that's the immediate need the family needs, because parents are being deported from families who are mostly U.S. citizens. Children
we have
who are
mixed
born
status families. That's a huge issue.
And I believe that's a very important first step to stop deportation. And certainly, after that, people are looking into becoming a lawful permanent resident, so a U.S. citizen eventually.
Now, Mark, let's talk also the politics of this. You were telling me off camera that there's growing support for immigration reform, even within the Republican Party.
That's correct. So when you ask the general U.S. public about support for legalization, you find Democrats and independents have a large amount of support for some sort of a legalization for unauthorized immigrants. But even among Republicans, we find that there is support for legalization among Republicans and the general U.S. public. There's also a view among all Americans that the current immigration system needs to be completely rebuilt. So when you're taking a look at broadly what's happening, there's a view that things probably need to be fixed and to be changed, but also that there's support for some sort of legalization among the general U.S. public, whether Democrat, Independent, or Republican.
All right. Abel Nunez, really quick, do you think we're going to have immigration reform this year?
It's a hard question. We are hoping that something happens. The problem is that when you talk about reform, the question is what type of reform are we going to get? Gotcha. And I think that's what we need to be careful about.
Of course, that's key.
Yeah, that is the key.
All right. Thank you, Abel Nunez, Daniel Park, Mark Hugo Lopez. Thank you so much for the information.
Thank you.
Like always. When Hispanic Agenda returns.